Okay, so I'd like to show you guys a DVD box that I bought. I'll kind of just go through and show it off. It's pretty rare. It's a collectible I managed to find online, so I thought I'd make a video about it. It's called the Walt Disney Animated Anthology, the Classic Collector Set, or Classic DVD Collector Set, rather. So you can see on the back the list of movies, and you can just see here the movies. So the top of it has just got a little shine. I mean, all along the side there's a little shiny silver reflective thing. The bottom just has a barcode and their address. Now the cool thing, if you look closely, you'll see there's little character drawings on here, both the sides and the back. And you might not be able to see from the camera, but they're actually embossed too. They're like embossed in the cardboard. So the inside of the box is pretty plain. There's nothing really, there's nothing really in here, but I'll go through each movie and show it. Well, let me just explain first what this collection is, because I know you're probably looking, and these movies are really random. Why did they include these? Well, there was a thing called the limited issue. So you can see on the side here it says limited issue, and it has a little banner on the top. Basically, when Disney first got into DVDs in the late 90s, they started with some of their live action movies, Flubber, George of the Jungle, Mary Poppins. There were a few others. They were very bare bones releases, probably just taken from the same source as the VHS and Laserdisc releases, but they were on DVD, and that was just kind of their thing. Well, obviously people wanted the animated classics on DVD. I mean, that was, obviously they were in high demand. So they released them in this order. I actually had them in chronological order, starting with Pinocchio, all the way up until these three. Wait a minute. Yeah, wait, no, the Lion King 2 is, I put this back in the wrong spot. This one should be moved over. Yeah, it should be like this. So these three, Peter Pan, The Little Mermaid, and The Jungle Book, were all released in December of 1999. Pinocchio being released in, I want to say, January or February of 1999. So over the course of the year, they released these 9 animated movies. After that, they started what's called the Gold Classic Collection. So here you can see the Aristocats. This one has a very similar, and on the side it's similar, but it says Gold Classic Collection instead of limited issue. These ones actually had bonus features too. You see it says interactive trivia game. I mean, they weren't much, but there were some special features anyway. And you'll see there's actually like a shiny gold little banner across the top. Now later on they stopped doing the shiny ones, so this is Pete's Dragon. It's a later edition, so it just has, it's like a yellow. But the side's still the same thing, and again you can see their bonus features on it. So, some of these titles, like Pinocchio, would actually be reprinted as a Gold Classic Collection. But I managed to find this box set with all 9 saying limited issue. I've actually seen sellers having the same box set where at least 2 of them say Gold Classic Collection on them. So they're the same discs, just they were reissued. So without further ado, let me go through the movies and show you separately. So here's Pinocchio. And you have the side here. And you see they have these stock numbers too. They usually go in order, except Pinocchio is weird, but all the rest of them go in order. So here, special features, okay, it says original theatrical trailer. That's pretty much it. Now this one's also THX certified. You see there's a little logo up here too that says THX. So, you look inside here, say here's the disc. Here is the chapter insert. Now I will show you, for this one only, the back of the chapter insert is the same as the cover artwork on all 9 of these. So I'm not going to bother taking them out and showing you the back because it looks just the same as the front. But here you have a chapter insert. And again, all of them have this. Sometimes people lose them, so if you're looking at buying one of these sets yourself, make sure you ask the seller if they actually have the chapter inserts, because that's, it makes it more collectible if you do. So next up was Mulan. Now, with these movies, well, let me get back to Pinocchio for a second. So, the question is, well, other than just being collectible, is there any reason to buy these? And some of them yes, some of them no. Pinocchio, there's nothing extraordinarily wrong with this one, but you're probably better off buying this release, the Platinum Edition, because, you know, it looks just as good, really. It's, and it's got a whole disc of bonus features. You can also get the Blu-ray. This is the standard DVD, but you can see all these features on the back here. So, again, Pinocchio, again, nothing wrong with this one. So, since it's a classic movie, they really didn't do much to it, so this one is fine. Now, Mulan, though, probably you don't want this release. I'll just show you here. But this is why. You see it says choice of viewing aspect ratios. The full screen one, if you're interested in having a full frame one that's cropped, then this release is for you. But the widescreen transfer is not anamorphic, which means that it's essentially a 4:3, you know, full frame picture with black bars to cover this. So, unless you have like an old TV that isn't widescreen, you might not want to get this one. But anyway, this one does have, it has some music videos as a trailer. This one's also THX certified. So here you have the disc here, and the chapter inserts. So again, I'll show you, here's the artwork, in case I didn't hold it up high enough. So, yeah, 101 Dalmatians. Probably the plainest looking of all of them. Got the side here, looks kind of cool though. And the back, again, all it has is the theatrical trailer. This one also is THX. Some of them are, some of them aren't. Seems like all three of them in a row I just showed you were. Here is your disc artwork here, and the chapter insert. Again, no particular reason to get this one. The Platinum Edition DVD is just fine. Nothing really was ruined in it. I'll explain later on why some of the Platinum Editions aren't as good. This one, though, nothing wrong with it. So, again, it's just up to you. Now, this one is one I would avoid, and I'll explain why in a minute. Here's Lady and the Tramp. The cover actually looks a lot like the Masterpiece Collection VHS tape, though. The side here. And the back. Well, this one has no special features at all. And you notice it says widescreen 2.35 to 1. Now, that's like this shape. It's like Star Wars. It's really wide. So it's probably like more like this. I mean, I can't really do it with my fingers very well, but it's a very wide, like something like Star Wars is super wide. Well, it's not anamorphic, which means, again, you have huge black bars that take up like half the screen. So, I would probably not get this one unless, like I said, you have an older TV. The Platinum Edition DVD of this is anamorphic and looks a bit better. So, this is one of the few I would avoid. Now, this movie, The Lion King 2, not really sure why this one and not the first Lion King, but again, it's part of the box set. It does say limited issue on it. Here's the side here. And the back looks like it does have some special features. I mean, I've never even seen this movie. I'm not really interested in Disney sequels, so this one is, I can't make any recommendations about it. But I'm going to go ahead and guess that the later DVD that came out when they released the first Lion King was probably similar, since it was a direct-to-video anyway. Oh, and this one's also THX. Lady and the Tramp is not, just in case you were wondering. Hercules was another title that was reissued as a Gold Classic. I actually have the Gold Classic collection of this. I bought it like a year ago at the store. They're still selling this because there's only ever been one DVD release of Hercules. And this is an interesting, I'll show you too. So here's the side. And the back, there's a little making of here. And just some basic features. Now this is interesting because you'll see the disc actually says Gold Classic Collection on it, even though the box says limited issue. So it looks like this is a fairly later pressing, because this, I mean, the chapter insert does say limited issue on it as well. So I'm going to go ahead and guess that when they put this box set together, it was like at the end of you know, and they were putting these back in the vault, and that's why they called them limited issue, because they were only going to be available for a very short amount of time. So I'm going to guess that by that time they'd already made the decision to rebrand this one as a Gold Classic Collection and not put it back in the vault, like they did some of the other films, and so they probably just happened to have the newer disc and just slapped it in the box, and that was that. So, interesting enough on here. So Hercules, again, it's the only release, although you can just go to the store and buy this one, probably cheaper than collectors are selling it on eBay. So again, it's up to you. Although I will warn you though, newer ones have a Disney Movie Rewards code instead of a chapter insert, so that is one reason to get a used copy or find an older, like, limited issue one if you want the chapter insert. Okay, now, Peter Pan. Peter Pan has been released, I want to say 3 times on DVD now. This is the first one. Some people like the coloring of this one better, because it seems like each DVD release, they've altered the colors because, you know, the film is old and they keep restoring it. This one is fairly unrestored. It's just, I mean, you can see there's not even a special feature. It just says there's a French language track, that's it. Because the artwork on disc means nothing. That's just saying that this disc is colorful here, that's all. And here's your chapter insert. Some people like this one better because it isn't restored, so it looks a lot like the VHS and Laserdisc would, where the later ones were restored. So again, if you're one of the people like me that doesn't like the restoration, sometimes you might like this. Although I did hear the 2002 special edition looks better, at least in some people's opinions. So I guess that one's just up to you to decide whether you want this one, the 2002, or the Platinum Edition. By the way, this one is not THX certified. This one is. I forgot to mention that again. Now, The Little Mermaid. This is one of the ones that's extremely valuable. And I will explain why. So here's your cover. It's actually not as cool looking as the VHS cover, I think. But whatever. The Platinum Edition does have better artwork, I would agree with. Now, there are 2 reasons why this DVD is very useful. Let me just show you the disc and stuff first before I get on with it. Oh, and this one also is not THX certified. Now, The Little Mermaid, starting with The Little Mermaid all the way up until some of their later films, they used a thing called CAPS, which is Computer Aided Production System, and it had an aspect ratio of 1.66 to 1. The Hercules disc is also that aspect ratio. Now, when they released it on the Platinum Edition DVD, they cropped it to make it anamorphic. In other words, to make it enhanced for widescreen televisions, they cut the top and bottom off a little bit. Not much, but a little bit, to make it fit. So this one has the full picture. However, the more important reason is because there is a scene in this movie where the priest that is doing the wedding at the end lifts his knee up and he has a kneecap sticking out the front of his pants, and people went the wrong way with that, thought it was inappropriate, so Disney censored it out of their Platinum Edition DVD, where he literally just does not have a knee in that release. So, even though it's only a short scene that's like a second long, the fact of the matter is the later DVD of this is censored, and this one isn't. So, Little Mermaid is one that if you are a preservationist like myself and you want as close to the original version that was shown in theaters as possible, this one will suit you better than the Platinum Edition. I own both. You know, Platinum Edition is nice for the special features, but this one is nice because it's uncensored and it has the full aspect ratio that it was originally released in. Now, speaking of aspect ratios, the last one in the set, the last one released, The Jungle Book, is also very valuable, probably the most expensive if you're trying to buy them on their own. Now, The Jungle Book was released in, I want to say the 60s, 1967. It was actually interesting trivia. It was the last film that Walt Disney himself worked on, because he died in 1966, a year before this came out in theaters. It was mostly done at the time, though, so, he did have a say in it. Now, starting in the 60s, and going all the way up until the late 80s, when they started doing the cap system that I mentioned for The Little Mermaid, they would animate their movies in the Academy ratio, which is very close to that square shape, the 4:3 shape that TVs used to have. This DVD is a transfer of that, the full frame, the 4:3 aspect ratio, and it says here, The Jungle Book is presented in its original theatrical aspect ratio, approximately 1.33 to 1. However, some theaters were widescreen only, so what they did was they cut the top and bottom off it to make it fit on their projection systems. And as a result, you'd lose about a third of the picture, which would really bug me. If I was an artist and I made a movie and they cut part of it off, I would be really upset. The Platinum Edition DVD of The Jungle Book is widescreen, which means it's missing the top and bottom of the picture. It's approximately a third of the screen too, or maybe like a fourth, but it's still a pretty big amount, considering how much hard work went in, because you got to keep in mind they animated every frame by hand. So they literally just cut off part of their work. So, sadly, the DVD release is cropped, and all the future releases probably will be, seeing as how widescreen is the new kind of trend. And so, this release is the only other DVD ever released, at least in North America. I don't know about international ones. So it's very valuable if you want the original transfer that you're used to seeing on a VHS. Which brings me to this. I actually bought the Jungle Book that you see I have 2 copies. I actually bought one before I got this set because of the fact that I knew it was very worth having. However, this is what I find interesting. You see how this one, the artwork goes all the way to the center. I'm just going to take the 2 discs out so I don't have to hold both boxes up. But this is the one that came with the box set, and this is the one that I had before. So you see how this one, that the art goes all the way to the center here. This one it doesn't. So this one is likely an older disc because they didn't used to have the technology to make the artwork go all the way to the middle. Very interesting. I mean, the boxes are basically the same thing here. This one is like a more glossy surface. This one is a matte surface. But other than that, they're basically the same. The only other interesting thing that's in this one, behind the chapter insert, you have this little sheet. That's basically... It's basically telling you if you buy the other limited issues, because you look at these are the same movies I just showed you. So you get 1 free DVD if you buy 5, or 2 free DVDs if you buy 9. So, and the movies that were eligible, and it says here, the live action 101 Dalmatians, Air Bud, Beauty and the Beast, The Enchanted Christmas, Flubber, like I mentioned, George of the Jungle I also mentioned, Homeward Bound, Mighty, Mary Poppins, again I mentioned that one, Mighty Joe Young, Mr. Magoo, The Parent Trap, Santa Claus, and Tron. So those are the movies you could pick from, and it was a little mail-in sheet where you could attach the proof of purchase, which was, like most DVDs, it was right here on the barcode. Sadly, you'd have to kind of destroy your artwork. You have to cut the proof of purchase off, but I guess if it gets you free stuff, some people will do it. I wouldn't, because I like having the collectible, or, collectibleness, or whatever the word is. But here you can see this sheet here. Obviously this wouldn't work anymore, it expired years ago, but I just think that was kind of cool. So, I'm going to assume, yeah, it says it has to be, it expired in 2000. I'm going to assume that the reason the box set didn't have it is because it came with all 9 anyway, so it would basically be giving you free movies for nothing. And, the whole point was Disney wanted you to buy their stuff, so it wouldn't make any sense to do that. So the second copy, I actually am going to sell it. I have no need for 2 of them. I can live with the fact that this one doesn't have the little chapter insert. It has the chapter insert. It doesn't have the mail-in certificate, rather. But what I find more interesting was that this one, the artwork doesn't go all the way to the center, whereas on the other one it did. So that's just showing that, I'm not sure which one's newer. Unlike the VHS tapes, they didn't mark on the discs when they were made. I don't think they did anyway. I don't see any sort of... Yeah, I don't see a date on here at all. There is some text in it, but I don't see any sort of indication. So, I'm not actually sure which one's newer, but it's worth mentioning anyway. So there's, again, identical copies as far as anyone knows, without opening it. If it says it's unopened or whatever, they look exactly the same. The backs look exactly the same. The sides look exactly the same. I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same stock number and everything. Just very, very slight difference on the inside. So, I just thought it was worth mentioning. So there you have it. There are the 9 Animated Anthology classics. This box set is pretty expensive because you think about it, if there are 9 movies, if each one of these retailed for, I want to say, $25 back then, so even at $20 a piece, that's $180. Now, I happened to get it for less than that, but there are people on eBay selling it as a set for like $250 or higher, which, it is rare. You don't see it very often, but at the same time, I don't know that it'd be worth paying that much. I guess it's up to you. I managed to find it for cheap. or at least cheap compared to getting 9 movies. It was still a lot of money. So, you know, just take that into consideration. But if anyone's thinking of buying this, you can see my video here, and you can see what it looks like on the inside. And again, make sure if you buy one that isn't unopened, that you ask the sellers to check and make sure it has the chapter inserts, because it would degrade from the value if they got rid of those. Some people did throw them out for who knows why. Or some of them, like I mentioned, the Gold Classic collections, the newer releases, like this one of Pete's Dragon does have it, but some of the newer ones, they don't have this chapter insert here, like Hercules. So again, you know, some of these animated anthologies, like my copy of Hercules, do have the Gold Classic collection mark on them instead of the limited issue. So just make sure that it's complete if you're buying a set that isn't unopened. Like this one wasn't unopened, but I contacted the seller and asked them, and they sent me a bunch of pictures and said, you know, they said that it does have all the chapter inserts. So I was quick to buy it before someone else came along and found it. So I hope you enjoyed seeing it. I certainly, you know, again, it is a nice stack of movies here, and it would go great with any. I guess it goes this way, doesn't it? It would go great with anybody's collection that likes having rare releases, because all of these have been out of print for over 10 years now, and as such, some of them go for $20 to $30 just on their own. Like this version of the Jungle Book was about $25 when I bought it several years ago, and the price is only going to go up as they get more rare. So if you're interested in having it as a set, definitely look into this rather than trying to buy them individually, because you get this nice little cardboard box that holds all 9 and a little shiny reflective artwork, and I think it makes it more valuable if you have a box like this. They might have, I don't know if they did it for this, but I know for Cinderella, for example, if you bought all 3, you could mail them and they'd send you a free thing, kind of like this. I mean, obviously it only held 3 DVDs, not 9, but it had like a Cinderella artwork, and it, you know, you could get a little collectible box if you had the whole trilogy. So they may have had something like that, where if you had all 9 and you sent them the proof of purchase, they'd send you a collectible box, or you could buy the box by itself. But again, this was from over 10 years ago. It was from 1999, so this box was probably released early in 2000, because the last 3 releases in the limited issue line were released December of '99, right before the new millennium started. So chances are they kind of let them run its course, you know, maybe sold it for a few months and then issued this box set. Kind of, I guess it would serve 2 purposes. It would also get rid of all the remaining stock if they were serious about putting them back in the vault and not making them. If they had a bunch of them left over, you know, that they didn't send to stores, they put these box sets together, put them all in here, ship them out to people that want to buy them, and that's it. You know, they'd be gone. So yeah, that's the Walt Disney Animated Anthology, the Classic DVD Collector Set. Just thought I'd share this with you guys, and hopefully I helped at least one of you out who watching this and was considering getting it. Now you know what they look like, and you know why some of the movies are worth owning and other ones might not be, on their own at least. But definitely The Little Mermaid and The Jungle Book are the more sought after of the series. So if you're a collector, I definitely implore you to look into this. That's all I have. Thanks for watching.